Hello Algebra 1 students, here we are on Unit 7, Tier 1, Lesson 1b. Let's check off our booklet. In Lesson 1b, we're going to introduce the vertex form of a quadratic. And the vertex form of a quadratic is y equals a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. Now, this looks very familiar, if you remember, to our absolute value stuff that we did back in the blue booklet early in the year when we had like y equals, and then we would have x minus h and then plus k on the outside of the bars when this was absolute value. Vertex form, the advantages to it, there's two things. Number one, it's easy to see our transformations. Sorry, that got messy. But if you remember, when we're inside, that's horizontal transformations. And when we're outside, that's our vertical transformation. Okay, and that was like from when we did absolute values. Well, that's the same thing here. This outside, that's going to be vertical. And this inside, that's going to be horizontal. And remember, with horizontal, it's opposite of what you think. So let's get into a little example real quick. So over here, if I have y equals x minus 2 squared plus 1. Well, if you remember, when you have minus 2, you would think you would go left, but in reality, it's opposite when it's inside. So we're going to go right. So this is going to be, my transformation will be right 2, just like with absolute values, and then up 1, because outside, it's exactly what we think. So then if you think about the vertex is always going to be hk, because my vertex, I'm right 2, up 1. Well, if I drew a Cartesian plane really quickly right here, I'd go right 2, 1, 2, up 1. Well, my vertex right there is going to be 2, 1. Well, what is my h value? My h value is 2. My k value is 1. So anytime you see a quadratic in vertex form, you can very quickly find the vertex. This helps for transformations, and it helps for solving. So I'm going to erase this over here. And what I mean by it helps with solving is, let's say you had a quadratic over here that you were trying to solve. Let's say 0 equals x plus 2 squared minus 6. One of the nice things about having it in vertex form is all you'd have to do is add 6 to both sides, because again, we want to stay balanced in an equation. Okay, and then we have 6 equals x plus 2 squared. All right, I'm going to shrink that. So now when we have x plus 2 squared equals 6, what we got to do, and why this helps, is when we just take the square root of both sides. But whenever you take the square root when you're solving, this is going to become a plus or minus the square root of 6. And I can explain that more later in later units, but I just want to show you why the vertex form is helpful. So then that would give us x plus 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 6. So now to solve for x again, all we have to do is subtract 2 from both sides. So we would get x left on this side, and we would have negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 6, and that would be our exact answer if we were solving this little quick quadratic. And that is why it is beneficial also to have vertex form. So for solving simple quadratics, which we're going to do later in this booklet, and also for transformations and graphing quadratics will help us later on in this booklet. Good luck on your quiz.